welcome to the most interesting session for this afternoon. We're going to talk about the French delivery and logistics market. From my personal experience, being 25 years in the industry, France is always and has always been quite a difficult market for some of you. And that's not necessarily because the market is huge or whatever, but there's also some certain aspects about innovation and adaptability, etc. So in order to really tackle some of those issues, we felt that it would be an excellent idea to invite two of the experts in the French markets. On your left-hand side, you see Elie Gharios. He's the CEO and founder of Klareo. They are really expert as well, working with the French retail industry and how to advance their positioning in that particular segment. He's seconded by Geoffroy BLERVAQUE. He's a senior manager, but he's also the consultant and specialized also in implementations in this particular domain. So all the answers that you're looking for doing business in France with the retail sector, probably we get demystified by these two people. So please give a hand and welcome to the floor, Elie Gharios.
Yeah. Thank you, Ernst. Thank you. So I'm actually Elie Gharios in French. I'm the CEO and founder of Klareo. Klareo is a cloud-based solution provider. We offer cloud-based delivery management systems to retailers. And I'm here with Geoffroy BLERVAQUE from Square Management. Square Management is a European consulting firm specialized also, among other areas, into supply chain management and optimization. And we're here today to share with you our experience with three of the largest retailers in France, so Leclerc, Intermarché, and Coopérative U, for those of you who knows a bit about the French market. So these three retailers represent almost 52% of the French market. Actually, they serve 52% of the French market. And we've worked with them, like together with Geoffroy, over the last year or 2 years on organizing, structuring, and boosting their delivery activity. So we thought it was interesting to share this experience because it's a real life experience on boosting and organizing this activity. What makes it even more interesting is that what these three retailers have in common, in addition to using Klareo, is that they're a network of more than 3,000 stores owned and managed by independents and spread all over the French territory. Ernst talked about the complexity or the specificity of the French market, and I guess this is one of them, and this is what makes the project interesting, and this is what we want to share here. So we'll start with a bit of context about the home delivery activity in France. Why is it an opportunity? Why retailers are interested and must go this path moving forward? What are the challenges they face? Don't worry, I'm not going to bombard you with figures and statistics, actually. We'll just be focused on this market, the FMCG market, and the home delivery activity with it. Then we'll talk about the role of a delivery management. How can a delivery management system structure or help you structure or organize your home delivery activity? Before tackling the rollout challenges, because again, we're talking about networks of thousands of stores, so once you've chosen the solution, the other challenges will be how to deploy it over such a wide network. At the end, we'll keep some time for question and answers. So I'll try not to be very romantic and passionate in my speech, so that I can leave you the time to ask your questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. So let's look at the market. Or we all agree in the room, I guess, that home delivery is a real growth opportunity for retailers. We looked a bit at the history of the French market, and 10 years ago, how was e-commerce rising up in the French market. We all know that in France and in Europe, the pickup of home delivery was a bit shy, especially when you compare it with Asian or American markets. The main channel for getting your online orders was drive-through stores. So you place your orders on the internet, the orders are prepared in a drive store, and then you come by your car and pick it up. This was France was the champion with drive-through stores. Europe followed. This was the main channel or the prevailing channel for getting your online orders. But then came the pandemic, and with the pandemic, the home delivery activity boosted, And the main question was, would this trend continue? Is this a permanent change in consumption behavior? And when you look at the graph, uh, you can see that beyond 2022, and this is well after going out of the pandemic, home delivery kept on growing. And not only it kept on growing, what we can see in the graph is that it started gaining shares over the traditional drive-through market. So basically, retailers like Leclerc, like you, like Intermarché knew that it's not an option anymore not to launch their service of home delivery. They need to be there because if they're not, the risk is losing market shares to other competitors who offer this service, the home delivery service. But clearly, this opportunity comes with its own set of challenges. Customers not only expect their retailers to offer home delivery service, customers nowadays expect a certain level of service. International players like Amazon, Uber, just to name a few, have set the bar and have set the bar really high on the expectations of customers. So customers expect their orders to be delivered on time. They expect to be able to choose their delivery slot. They expect to be able to track their order, or otherwise they won't order. Customers also expect their retailers to offer eco-responsible solution. What's interesting to see is that in society nowadays, we're at the crossroad between the permanent change in consumption behavior, and this is what's boosting home delivery, and from the other side, the rise of environmental awareness. Customers and consumers are more and more aware of the impact of their consumption on environment. However, what's also interesting is to look at the statistics and see that this is not preventing them from going to home delivery or for asking for home delivery. It's mainly orienting their choice towards retailers who are offering green solutions. So retailers want to offer green solutions. They want to offer green solutions. They want to satisfy their customer expectations. But bottom line, this comes with a cost, and it's even more a high cost because new laws and regulations in Europe and France are expected in the coming 5 years. So high investments are required, and the equation to be solved by retailers is how to offer a service that satisfy customer expectations, that satisfy environmental constraints, laws, and regulations, while being cost efficient, profitable, and thus durable. So this is the equation our retailers need to solve. Now, many solutions are possible. Obviously, with every opportunity, every challenge, a set of solutions starts to emerge. Some of them are traditional solutions. Others are very recent. Like in France, peer-to-peer delivery platform is something very recent, but very quickly growing. That's an option if you want to organize your delivery relying on peer-to-peer delivery platforms. Other options would be relying on last mile professional carriers. You can also rely on local niche carriers who are offering their service to fulfill your deliveries. You can even imagine having your own fleet and managing your own delivery. And that's a very interesting point because these retailers, as I said, has a wide network of stores spread all over the territory, which makes the last mile problem for them normally easier because they can just have their internal fleet and then have the delivery done shipped from the stores. Again, other options are also possible because when you're dealing with large cities, why not deliver to relay stores or to pickup stores? Why not deliver to lockers, to robotized lockers? Many options are available for retailers in order to organize their delivery, their home delivery. But the problem and the question is, what is the ideal solution for them? What is the ideal solution for them today? How can they make sure that it still is tomorrow? How can they adapt it if tomorrow it changes? What about the new trends, the new models? You definitely heard during these 2 days about drone deliveries and other topics that might be very interesting. So would this solution they will choose today, or this organization they will choose today, be still valid tomorrow? Would the organization actually that they would implement on Monday be as valid on Friday? Or is it the same organization all over in all days of the week, or in different seasons? Because obviously in retail there's seasonality effect, fluctuations. At the same time, with the solution that's good or that's valid or optimal for a given store, is it necessarily valid in another stores? So many questions are to be answered. And what makes the equation a bit more complex is that many factors can impact the answer. So factors might be internal, depending on the size of the store, the availability of the resources, your staffing, your skills, but they also might be external, like your geography, the population density around you, the local restrictions, the local rules and regulations. So what might be valid in one place at one time might not be also valid, might not be valid in other places or other times. This is the dilemma retailers like Leclerc, U, or Intermarché has to solve. So basically, how can a delivery management solve this dilemma? A delivery management system solve this dilemma? If you expect me to come with an answer on this is the ideal organization model, well, I don't have this answer. However, at Klareo, we try to find a solution. The solution is you need a system that enables you to adapt your strategy in real time, to adapt it to day-to-day constraints. So ideally, you can every morning decide that given the possible solutions that are available to me, given what the orders I have, the criteria of these orders, I would rather today use my internal fleet and send all the excess to carriers, or otherwise, I'd rather use carriers and send the excess to internal fleets, or maybe deliver to relay stores and then dispatch the last mile to another carrier. So the delivery management system is what needs to allow you to, the delivery management system needs to enable you actually to adapt your strategy in real time and liberate you from making static choices. So obviously these choices has to be based in what's more cost efficient for you. How can you increase your profitability by choosing or applying this or that transportation plan? It needs to give you full visibility on the quality of service that should be offering to your customers, and it needs to give you full visibility on the impact this would have, the choices your impact will have on the environment, because obviously you're looking for green solutions. So a delivery management system is what would liberate you from having to make static choices. And this is where Klareo entered the game, actually. Klareo is a company we created 4 years ago. We're 3 partners with long experience in supply chain management. And we identified, actually, the situation about last mile 4 years ago. We knew that the solutions that were available 4 years ago won't be the same 4 years later, and we still believe that 4 years later from now, they would change. So we didn't just want to create one more solution, one more software solution. We wanted to position Klareo as the partner of retailers to accompany them in growing, in structuring and addressing their current needs around home delivery, but mainly in growing and evolving their solution or our solution based on the evolution of the available solutions on the market. Since then, today, Klareo is used in more than 2,000 stores, and last year, in 2023, more than 2 million delivery orders were done using Klareo systems. So in Klareo, we built our software with 3 pillars in mind. We wanted this solution where whatever your delivery mode is, whatever your strategy is, you can find the features to manage it in one place. We wanted to break the system where we found retailers piling up different solutions, different software solutions, one solution per delivery mode or one solution per strategy. So we wanted Klareo to be a main system where whatever your strategy is, you can find the features you need. We also wanted Klareo to be enterprise ready. We know how complicated it is to connect information systems or new information systems to your architecture. So we wanted it to be enterprise ready because we knew that time is crucial. We need to go fast. You need to go fast to be able to leverage the ROI of this investment. So you don't need to spend long project times connecting interfaces between systems. So this is why we're API first. We have a library of open APIs so that you can very easily connect your information systems. And finally, again, we designed our architecture, our technical architecture, in a way to be very flexible and very scalable, because we know and we're sure that the features we have today is just the start of the features we'll have 2 years later or 3 years later. The result is currently 5 modules. K planning, the main module for automatically selecting your optimal transportation plan and applying it based on day-to-day constraints. K-Trace, which is a central control tower that enables you, whatever the delivery mode is, to control your shipments, to check on their progress, anticipate problems or hiccups, intervene if needed. You can intervene because with K-Trace you also have a mobile application that guides the drivers, that gets feedback from the drivers, if you're using your internal fleet, obviously, it can get feedback from the driver. You can guide the driver in order to help him fulfill his missions. So, but the main message with K-Trace is that it's a central control tower. So whatever your delivery mode is, you can have a visibility of what's happening. And if you're an after-sale guy or a support guy or a call center, whenever the customer will call to ask about his ETA, you know that your information is in one place. K-Notification is the module that enables you to interact with the customer. So you can ask the customer to book a delivery slot if needed. You can notify the customer about the ETA. You can enable him to track his delivery. And you can also ask him to grade the delivery if you're managing an NPS score. So K-Notification is the interaction with the customer. K-Relay, which is the fourth module, the fourth operational module, is here to help you manage your pickup stores. So in pickup stores, you can use K-Relay to control your receipts, to manage your putaways, to manage your shipments. And the idea about K-Relay is that in this last mile chain, if you're shipping from a warehouse and you have a first leg of shipment to a pickup store before you then fulfill the last mile, K-Relay will give you this additional visibility whereby not only you can track your transportation, but you can also track the activity in your pickup store. So that's K-Relay. And finally, K-Analytics and K-Planning are here to help you control the cost, calculate the cost, and K-Analytics provides you with a set of KPIs, key performance indicators, so that you can track the performance of your activity and analyze the ways to improve it. I won't spend more time on this slide because otherwise it can be a long one. I invite you to visit our stand if you need to know more, because the list of features is really long. So we'd rather go to some customer testimonials. I guess this is what might interest you. And we picked two testimonials actually. One coming from you. It's coming from the store manager who's sharing his experience about a specific need he had in he's in the southern suburb of Paris, and he's sharing his experience about a specific need he had and how he managed to address it using Klareo. And there's another testimonial coming from Intermarché. We did with a Intermarché associate, sharing his global experience about deploying Klareo in the different stores. So let's start with and Benjamin Harouche. And by the way, the videos are in French, but they're subtitled. So let's
Bonjour, je suis
start.
Benjamin Harouche, je suis directeur du Super U de Clamart. On est un magasin hyper urbain et on avait un enjeu de taille, c'est la livraison à domicile de nos clients qui viennent faire leurs courses en magasin. Avec Klareo, on a trouvé un outil très performant qui nous a permis d'optimiser nos commandes qui viennent d'Internet ainsi que les commandes qui viennent de nos clients en magasin. Grâce à Klareo, on a pu mettre en place un parcours client personnalisé. Avant, les clients devaient s'enregistrer chaque semaine pour se faire livrer. Aujourd'hui, avec ce nouvel outil, le client s'enregistre une fois et de semaine en semaine, on vérifie ses données et on peut le livrer très facilement. Le client n'attend plus, la saisie et l'enregistrement de la demande de livraison se fait très rapidement et on est sûr que le livreur aura toutes les informations pour livrer dans de bonnes conditions.
So as I said, what's interesting in this testimonial is that although we thought the project globally, but when we went to the store, this store in particular, because he's in a dense Parisian suburb, had this specific need, and thanks to this flexible solution or the flexible delivery management system we offer, we managed to fulfill or satisfy his need. So now let's hear Olivier Bell, an Intermarché associate. It's a longer video because he's describing the whole process, the whole process of choosing, selecting, and deploying Klareo. Let's hear Olivier.
Bien, bonjour à tous, je suis Olivier Bell, adhérent Intermarché à Libourne en Gironde. Et au travers de cette vidéo, je voulais vous apporter un témoignage sur la mise en place d'un DMS chez Intermarché qui a été réalisé avec l'éditeur Klareo, avec bien sûr les équipes métiers et techniques d'Intermarché et également le support des équipes de Square. Le monde a changé depuis 2019 avec les différentes crises successives que l'on a traversées et cette période, eh bien, ça a été un très très fort accélérateur de croissance pour le marché e-commerce alimentaire. Et au sein de cette activité e-commerce, il y a un segment qui s'est particulièrement développé, c'est celui de la livraison à domicile. Donc pour accompagner cette croissance, on a décidé dès 2023 d'ouvrir ce service de livraison à domicile à l'ensemble des magasins de notre parc, du parc Intermarché. Toujours dans ce contexte, et puis pour faciliter les opérations dans nos magasins, on a aussi décidé de s'équiper d'un nouvel outil, d'un DMS qui va nous permettre d'automatiser toute la gestion des livraisons. De quelle façon on a procédé? En fait, on a fait une sélection rigoureuse via un appel d'offres. Et il nous est apparu rapidement que Klareo répondait vraiment parfaitement à nos besoins et à nos différents critères. Donc une fois que le DMS a été mis en place chez nous, qu'est-ce qu'on a pu constater? Eh bien, au niveau des points de vente, déjà, on a pu constater une réelle et sensible hausse de la productivité dans nos opérations. Donc ça, c'est quand même un point très important. Deuxièmement, on a constaté, bien sûr, un meilleur suivi des prestations de livraison, ce qui est aussi important. On a pu aussi diversifier nos offres de transport proposées à nos clients, aussi bien d'un point de vue rentabilité que durabilité. Et enfin, toujours en termes d'avantages pour les magasins et pour ceux qui font de la livraison en interne en particulier, ça leur permet maintenant de construire de vraies tournées qui sont optimisées et de suivre en temps réel l'avancement des livraisons grâce à l'application livreur dédié. Sous un angle client maintenant, cet outil, il apporte un meilleur affichage des prestations possibles de livraison sur nos différents fronts. Et puis ça permet aussi à nos clients qui choisissent la livraison interne comme solution de livraison, de suivre leur livraison en temps réel.
So here's a testimonial from Olivier. What's interesting is that he managed to observe actually return. They managed to observe return on investment very quickly since they started to deploy. Once they started to deploy to roll out the DMS. Now we found the solution. The solution is a flexible and open delivery management system that can enable you to implement different adapted strategies based on every store. But this is where the rollout challenges start, because you have a very powerful tool, very feature-rich tool, but you need somehow to guide or to draw the limits of usage for every store, so that you avoid abusing actually the riches of the tool. And this is where Geoffrey is gonna talk about the challenges of implementing or deploying actually a delivery management system in more than 2,000 stores in less than 6 months. Geoffrey.
So thank you very much, Elie, and it's a real pleasure to be here. So just a short presentation of Square Management. So Square Management, who we are. We are a New European strategy and organization consulting firm. We have 10 areas of excellence covered by more 1,000 consultants, so strategy, data analysis, sustainability. And for the ETM project, we mobilized the expertise of supply chain and the people change. So now let's illustrate finally the rollout phase. I will share with you the real life experience that we had with the ETM project. As you know, in the project tool there is three phases. The first is to selection the solution, of course. The second, it's the build phase with the proof of concept. And the most important phase, as far as I'm concerned, finally, it's the massive rollout to implement the DMS in the whole store, not in one store, but in all the store. So finally, this phase, it's it's always to be a step on ahead. That's the very important point, and always think about the rollout requirement from day one. That's the two point. So now let's move to the selection process. So I just want to emphasize 3 points. The first point, when you're collecting your requirements, make sure to look at the global finally the global picture. And for Intermarché, we visited different stores with different organizations, but we try to anticipate the future requirements. That's the first point. The second point, make sure you are not looking at just at the fixture, but you are looking at all aspects of the project: functional, security, legal, compliance. And what is the success for Intermarché? The success finally was to involve different teams in the selection process to be sure to cover all aspects of the project. So that's the second point. And finally, the third point during the selection phase, when you try to calculate your TCO, it's really important to estimate the cost of the rollout phase and the running cost in order to estimate all the costs of the project. Because if you want to implement the DMS in all the stores, you have to take this point into account. For instance, for Intermarché, it represents around 30%. So it's really important. So now, when you select your DMS, you move to the other part, to the second phase, which is the build. And what is the key for the build? Finally, the build, at the end of the build, you have the proof of the concept. But the proof of the concept is not the end of the project. It's just one step. The target of the project is to implement the DMS in all the stores. So that's really important to have this idea. So with Intermarché, we decided to anticipate finally each other step. So during the building phase, finally identify different model during the role phase. We define the organization, the support team, and the organization, and we create a safety plan for the rollout phase. So the message here is finally always have one step ahead. That's very important. And now let's move to the final phase of your project, the rollout. So, what is the success with Intermarché? We finished the proof of the concept, and we tried to implement the DMS in all the stores. And what is the point? We decided to regroup the store in the same cluster, the store that they have the same organization, the same volume. So we regroup the store in different clusters. And for each cluster, we are able finally to have documentation, support, training specific for each cluster. So with this organization that we have created with Klareo, Intermarché, and with Square, we are able to implement the DMS very quickly. So that's the mainly point. And of course, at the end of the rollout phase, you have to celebrate your success, very important, but you have to anticipate the other requirements, of course, because the store will have a new tool, so they will probably want have new expectations. So you have to anticipate this point. So to conclude to this part, I have 3 messages. Be clear on your need, anticipate each step. POC is not the end of the project. POC is just one step, and prepare the rollout phase to be sure to implement the DMS very quickly and think big. That's very important to succeed your project. So now let's move to another testimony of Olivier Bell, and he will illustrate the success of the project.
On considère que la mise en place de ce projet, ça a été une réussite. Quels sont les facteurs qui expliquent le fait que ce soit une réussite? Eh bien, le premier facteur, c'est le fait d'avoir construit dès le départ une équipe pluridisciplinaire avec des compétences métiers et techniques internes, mais aussi externes au travers des équipes de Klareo. Le second facteur de réussite, vraiment, c'est d'avoir fait le choix dès le début d'être accompagné d'un expert du pôle supply chain de Square Management, en la présence de Geoffroy, ici présent. Et enfin, le troisième facteur de réussite de ce projet, ça a été le fait, dès le début, et sous l'impulsion de nouveau de Geoffroy, d'avoir vraiment bien pensé et bâti un plan de déploiement qui soit rapide et qui nous permette, comme on le disait, de capitaliser sur les bienfaits de l'outil. L'idée centrale dans ce déploiement, au-delà du fait d'être rapide, c'est vraiment d'être organisé en cluster, c'est-à-dire par typologie de points de vente, puisque notre parc est peut-être parfois assez hétérogène, et ça va nous permettre justement de pouvoir offrir des formations qui soient personnalisées aux différents magasins de notre parc. Donc finalement, en conclusion, et comme pour tout projet, la réussite finalement, c'est les hommes et l'expertise. C'est aussi d'avoir pu déployer cet outil très très rapidement pour permettre à Intermarché de rester un acteur important dans ce marché très dynamique et évolutif.
Thank you.
So, just to illustrate some figures about the Intermarché project, since you've seen 2 videos of Olivier, so it was, we identified 4 different store models. We organized and more than 150 training sessions. There were more than 1,000, even 2,000 stores open in 6 months. There was effectively 0 interruption of service. That's the very important point. So no store had to stop its home delivery activity just to deploy the system or implement the system, and we expect the ROI to be by end of 2025. Just to close it up, key takeaways, I won't be long. 1, there's no magical recipe. Liberate yourself from making static choices. Build your solution around a solid, flexible, scalable delivery management system. So, and finally, change management is key. So whenever you have the system, just think about how you will deal with the people, how the system will help the people raise the bar and boost their activities, leveraging all what the system is offering. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, we'll be more than glad to answer them.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you guys. Take your seats back at your bar stools. So thank you very much. Do we have any questions already from the audience about this super dynamic French market and how you have tackled the challenges in there? No immediate questions, so let me elaborate a little bit. First go to you, Geoffrey. You mentioning something also in this assessment, which I find always intriguing, which is then the TCO, right? That stands for, I think, total cost of ownership. So why is that so important to really calculate that with your client?
It's really important.
And what is it?
Okay, it's really important to calculate and to integrate the cost finally of the rollout phase in the TCO, because if you want to deploy 1 or 10 store, it's okay, but to deploy 200 store, 2,000 store, of course, it's important to have money and to have budget. That's the key. And if you do not anticipate this point at the beginning of the project, when you finish the POC, you are not able to implement very quickly the DMS. And that's a big mistake and the very, very important point. Each step of the project, you have to anticipate the other step. That's the key.
So you're making so that the calculation of all the unanticipated costs, you try to include that in this transition as well.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
When you calculate your TCO, of course, you don't know exactly the plan to implement the rollout phase, but you have to estimate this cost in order to integrate here in the TCO.
And to you, Elie, you mentioned in the beginning as well, sort of, hey, this French retail market, you know, you got this big Carrefour or Intermarché, when you have all these satellites, let's say the license holders of a particular brand in the of that particular area, right? So for the brand. But I don't think that is that much different in other countries, which is also in that retail. Is that special for France from your perspective, or you also see that in other markets?
This is maybe more pronounced, let's say, in France, but this is effectively very true in other markets. Okay, I guess when you're dealing, this, they say decide globally but implement locally. And when you're dealing with such a network of independent associates running stores spread in different geographies, different regions, with different setups, it's always very tricky to be sure of the solution you're choosing, or to be sure that the solution you're choosing or the organization you're putting in place would be as valid for all stores. That's the first point. And the second point is, once you've made your choice and once you have a clear plan on how you want to implement the organization or implement the structure, managing the change, like accompanying and assisting all stores to embark them into the project, is also very important. I guess the key is to have the right tool and the right methodology so that every store feels that the solution has been chosen for him. That's true in France, and that's, I guess, true everywhere else in the world, because I know this kind of organizations, and mainly in Europe, not to exaggerate, in Europe it's true everywhere, because this kind of organization exists in all other European countries. But it was interesting to talk about real cases and real life cases that we've dealt with.
Yeah, I guess it's also more the entrepreneurial type next to, let's say, the mothership, and you get the satellites around it, and then they have become an entrepreneur for a reason, right? So it might be a little bit more difficult to persuade them. Was there any sort of special messages that you could actually bring to the entrepreneurs that they could be easily persuaded to, embrace also the changes that you were proposing?
I guess it's the success recipe is just to be able to, I wouldn't say educate, but at least argument the fact or prove the fact that you're doing whatever you're implementing. Because when you're installing a new information system, it always looks as, okay, so we have one more tool to use, so we have to learn to use a new tool. So it's always seen at the beginning as an extra effort. Okay, you have to be very key to bring the message as, okay, this is going to be an extra effort at the beginning, but this is going to help you increase your market share. This is going to help you better satisfy your customers. So you have to make sure that these entrepreneurs understand all the benefits that they would have as entrepreneurs behind the implementation of the tool you're pushing to them.
And you, I must say, sort of, hey, you've really shown amazing progress, right? Just being, a couple of years in the industry. You said 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep, 4 years.
Yeah, that is amazing, right? Sort of, and having these big clients effectively trusting you to do so. But so let's take the crystal ball a little bit. Sort of, you had a vision 4 years ago that this would be sort of resonating well, and you proved that. So give us another 4-year outlook. How would the market further evolve, and would be key points? And obviously, the consultant here should be having an opinion on that one as well. So either of you can take the question first.
I guess I'll let the consultant. They're better in predicting the future.
Of course, DMS it's the future. It's an evidence. The customer needs the information. For the store, it's important to have the best solution to manage the productivity, the cost, and of course for the client to have different solution of transport. So I think that the DMS it's the solution, and with the EA, it will be probably the next step for the DMS.
Okay, so you see some of the trends, that continuous focus on cost.
Yes.
That will be there. Further optimization in the entire type of process, and maybe there's some magic in the AI. And so there's already 3 elements in there in the trends.
Yep.
So what can you add on that one?
So effectively, I'm fully aligned with what Geoffrey said. When the retailers when the retailers in the market started approaching this, or this home delivery challenge. Okay, the question was, okay, what's our? I mean, it's a bit what we tried to reproduce in the presentation. The first question was, okay, what's the ideal organization? Then they understood that there's no ideal organization. The ideal organization is a mix and match of things that can be adapted very quickly, and this is where in Klareo we developed what we currently call the business process manager, and this is an intelligent tool that can, based on the constraints that he identifies on a day-to-day basis, propose the transportation plan that might be different than the one he proposed yesterday or that he wants to propose tomorrow, in order to give you the best possible customer service, to offer you the best possible customer service at the lowest cost possible. Okay? That's the dilemma, offering an ideal service at a lower cost. Now, AI can definitely very soon play an even more important role in choosing and selecting the delivery mode based on real time, I would say, constraints he can identify, or even external confounding factors he can identify in order to orient you. Like, let's say, currently in Paris, there are the Olympic Games. The transportation plan you're applying to, not currently, like in few months, in few weeks in Paris, there are the Olympic Games. The transportation plan that the Parisians are implementing today would just need to be put aside, and new transportation plans are to be designed, conceived, in order to adapt to the restrictions that Olympic Games would do. And that's the power of a delivery management system. That's from one side. And I guess the story would continue, because other than this part, there will also be new delivery modes. And retailers who think that today they can just try to do it in some artisanal way, okay, would very quickly understand that they need to rely on a system that can help them accompany these evolutions, accompany these trends, maybe tomorrow start delivering using drones or other than drones. So the information system is key for moving forward.
Yeah, so plenty of sort of fascinating things ahead of us, I guess, in that domain. So one question as well to you. You also introduced yourself as so being the entrepreneur. Right? You started this type of business.
Yep.
So how would you see that sort of, you know, and still working with these giants, right? In a way. So how does it have helped you to take that entrepreneurial approach to push that type of product? And maybe you can also allude on that one a little bit, Geoffrey, on to say sort of, hey, how does the entrepreneurial spirit help you to persuade these guys?
You know, it's always about passion, I guess. And maybe this is French or the French culture, but I guess it's about, it goes beyond the French boundaries. When you're passionate about your topic, I guess people in front of you will be more open to listen to you. Okay? And it was a real kind of personal objective for us, for me, for my partners, to succeed in bringing, and this is what we said in the presentation, a partner and not just a solution. Succeed in being this partner who is just here to help his customers. Like we come, I won't mention names, but I come from a culture that is very customer obsessed. Okay, in my previous lives and previous career, I come from a culture that is very customer obsessed, and I wanted to use this customer obsession in order to bring a partner to retailers, enabling them to move to the next step and to raise the bar and to bring this service that customers are waiting for, because I truly believe home delivery will keep on growing. People will less and less move. We talked about the environmental impact, but I guess home delivery at the end will turn out to be very efficient for the environment, because it's better to get delivered in an optimal way than to spend your time going back and forth to the store. So it's a passion story that we managed to sell. I guess we sold first our passion to our customers before selling them the solution.
Maybe one comment from you, Geoffrey, on that one, because you know that an entrepreneur tends to be overly optimistic sometimes and opportunistic by default. So how have you managed to make that into a digestible format as well?
I totally agree with Elie, and finally, the combination, the success in the DMS project is to combine the entrepreneurship of Elie, the expertise of the consulting company, and finally to help our clients to implement this DMS. And for my part, it's possible to succeed if you have conviction. Conviction is the most important for the client, for Elie, and for my part. That's the conviction. If you are okay with your conviction, you are able to think big and to deploy this DMS in all stores.
Okay, well, thank you very much, guys. Just stay in there for a while. Obviously, let's thank the two speakers. But before that, we also, a couple of things. Yes, there is a passion from an entrepreneur who understands customer centricity. I guess pretty good. A consultant that is also supporting and really building a partnership with your end client. I think there's many sort of some of the key lessons. And that translates in optimized DNS. So really understanding the customer issues and deploy it step by step in a magical way. So I think you unveiled some of the secret sauce that we need for the French cuisine as well. So thank you very much for listening in today, and hope to see you soon. And there will be another plenary right after. So thanks again for Elie and Geoffrey to lead us through to this journey in France. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.